What lies beneath the sands of time? From mysterious artifacts to puzzling structures, ancient archaeological discoveries continue to baffle scientists and, of course, ignite our imaginations. In today's video, we'll explore the most perplexing finds that still defy explanation, including one of the most famous of all, the secrets hidden within King Tut's tomb. Here are 10 ancient archaeological discoveries that scientists can't explain. Number 10. King Tut's tomb. Discovered in 1922 by the legendary Howard Carter, King Tut's tomb is easily one of the most famous archaeological finds in history. Gotta kick our list off with them. Even though it was smaller than other royal tombs at the time, sure, it was a little small, it was surprisingly untouched by grave robbers, which is pretty rare in ancient Egypt considering how much time has passed. Inside, Carter uncovered more than 5,000 treasures, including the iconic golden mask. Now, what makes this tomb so mysterious is how well preserved it was when they found it. Considering Tut's short reign and his young age, this was honestly baffling. His sudden passing and the rapid burial have sparked endless theories, leaving many aspects of his life and legacy shrouded in mystery. Number 9. Carnac Stones. The impressively large collection of megalithic stones that cover the area of Carnac in France have boggled the minds of researchers for years. They're also sometimes referred to as France's Stonehenge. Not a bad title, although they are very different. The Carnac Stones are a collection of 3,000 stones, which were all cut from the same rock, and they were put in place somewhere around 500 BC. Now, what confused a lot of researchers was the fact that even though these stones show alignments, dolmens, and other examples of ancient geography consistent with other sites, they really shouldn't have existed in that time period in which they were constructed. Makes no sense. Also, sounds exhausting. Scientists have been trying to decode the arrangement of the stones for years, trying to figure out what it all means, but still, they have no clue. Number 8. Drum Castle. Ancient chambers? All right, let's do this. Back in 2013, while a conservation team was working on Scotland's oldest castle, Drum Castle, they found a previously undiscovered part of the castle. It was a hidden chamber, left untouched for hundreds of years. Dr. Jonathan Clark from FAS Heritage, part of the archaeological team, he recalls window openings on the first floor level, but once he was inside the castle, wherever those rooms were, they were hidden behind bookshelves. They couldn't find it. So they unblocked the windows, took a peek in, and found a hidden medieval chamber. And also, it's important to add, it was in great condition. They hid this thing well. It even had a little toilet in there too. How cozy is that? To quote Dr. Clark himself, he says, "This adds greatly to our knowledge of how the interior of the Tower of Drum was used in the medieval period. In due course, it should contribute a greater knowledge of how 14th century towers were used in their heyday." Yeah, hidden chambers, a hidden toilet. Is this haunted? What do we think? Comment down below. Number 7, the first zoo. Long before the pyramids were even built, Egyptians were getting pretty creative, if you want to call it that. They were the first to see a petting zoo. How brave is that also? Yeah, let's just start touching animals and see what happens. Why not? 6,000 years ago, Heracleopolis was the capital of Upper Egypt during the pre-dynastic period. It was beautiful. Sitting alongside the Nile River, it was clean, everything was untouched, it was beautiful. In those days, perhaps the best way to flaunt your wealth was by getting an exotic pet. There were excavations done back in the late 19th century by English archaeologists James Quibble and Frederick Green. They were the ones who discovered that this town was thriving with over 10,000 residents. But when further studies were performed, they also found the remains of an elephant surrounded in cosmetics, with ivory bracelets and amethyst beads. Really a lovely burial. Cats and dogs were also found, common pets. There's also crocodiles, again, brave owners there. Hippos, leopards, wild ox, all in the same area, and they were all carefully buried. But the broken bones suggest a bit of a cruel history there. Number 6, the Sphinx's hidden chambers. The Great Sphinx of Giza, with its lion's body and its human head, it's kind of hard to miss. It's one of the most iconic symbols of ancient Egypt. However, its purpose, its origins, and secrets are still hotly debated. Ancient texts and local legends speak of hidden chambers beneath the Sphinx's massive paws, possibly, hopefully, containing treasure, sacred texts, or even lost knowledge from a forgotten civilization. Now, despite modern exploration using advanced technology like ground-penetrating radar, these chambers still remain a mystery. No one knows what's inside. Some researchers believe the Sphinx predates the pyramids by thousands of years, pointing to an earlier, even more advanced civilization that might have left behind clues about humanity's distant past. So it's kind of important if we open this one up. Was the Sphinx a guardian, a spiritual symbol, or was it a marker for something far more significant? Number 5. Fiddlers Theatre. Excavations in Rome revealed the remains of a theater Neroni, a private theater used by none other than Emperor Nero himself, previously known only through texts. Now, this discovery provides a physical context to these historical accounts of Nero's reign. I thought Nero was a brat when he made a palace for his horse, but his own private theater? Imagine doing an entire show for one person. How awkward is that? Although I am doing that right now with producer Chris. It's not that awkward, it's kind of fun, it's nice. Number 4, Israel Tomb. Looking back to the Dark Ages in Shamir Heights, northern Israel, this tomb is massive. It's made up of 400 tons of boulders and it stretches 65 feet wide. This burial chamber goes back 4,000 years. Now, it could mean that humans were part of an organized society that long ago, especially considering the art that they found on the ceiling inside said dolmen, but this is the first time that art has been documented in one of these chambers in the Middle East. That's why it's so important, and we haven't quite figured out what the ceiling carvings depict yet. So far we think arrows or anchors, but inside the actual grave there were 3 sets of human remains, so it had been used for quite a while. While excavating the ancient gravesite, archaeologists also found colored beads. Yeah, we got beads and bones. Come on in, welcome to my tomb. One of the most intriguing parts of this grave has to be the lines carved in the ceilings. All the lines connecting to one single arc. What does that mean? I'm good at video games, I want to figure this out. Number 3, the Tomb of Ai. Unearthed by the legendary Howard Carter, classic, he's just digging up everyone. Back in 1907, the tomb of A, the pharaoh who took the throne after King Tut, rests in the Valley of the Kings. Now, the real intrigue surrounding A's tomb comes from his rapid rise to power, which is still tied to the controversial circumstances of King Tut's passing. Was Ai involved in his passing at such a young age, or was he simply a pawn in this larger royal drama? That's what we hope to figure it out every time we dig one of these guys up. Now, the tomb itself is filled with stunning artifacts, hinting at his considerable influence, yet the mystery deepens when you look at his short reign and the near silence in historical records about his burial and about his royal connections. Why is his legacy so vague? Was he truly a legitimate ruler, or was his rise to power more complicated than we know? These unanswered questions keep A's tomb and his role in history covered in mystery. Number 2, oldest inscription mentioning Odin. In Denmark, a remarkable archaeological find was made with the discovery of a golden disc from the 5th century. It was part of the Vindeliv hoard. Now, this disc contains the oldest known inscription of the name of the Norse god Odin. You know, Thor's dad, Anthony Hopkins, that guy? Previously, the earliest evidence of Odin worship was dated 150 years later, making this discovery significant for understanding this pre-Viking spiritual landscape in Scandinavia. Number 1, Gobekli Tepe. This monument is not only mysterious because we don't know much about its origins or anything at all, but it also caused quite the headache for researchers because it completely rewrote the timeline of the Neolithic era. Yeah, whoops, we missed one. We missed a big one, actually. The Neolithic era was the final period of the Stone Age where early humans began the process of domestication of animals and agriculture, right? It's when we kind of upped our game. For years, researchers believed that this era is what brought people towards the process of holding rituals and creating monuments to their beliefs. However, upon discovering Gobekli Tepe, that idea was completely erased. Now this mysterious site suggests that it was the work of early hunter-gatherers that made this temple a ritualistic center. So this would have happened far before these individuals decided to create settlements and begin the agricultural revolution. So based on that timeline of human settlements and such, this makes no sense. Why did they do this? Why did they make this? Based on evidence found at this site, that mind you is 6,000 some odd years older than Stonehenge, groups of hunter-gatherers came to the site in Urfa, Turkey, around 11,500 years ago and carved out a ritualistic site out of limestone that covered the entire area. So it's believed that Gobekli Tepe was just designed as a stopping point for these early humans. It was a place to meet, hold feasts, and then, of course, depart. Now, soon enough, the desire to regularly hold these gatherings prompted the early humans to domesticate plants and animals to have a more dependable food source. So with that in mind, it's believed that these rituals are what gave way to agricultural revolution, and not the other way around. Yeah, they were the OGs. Imagine inventing agriculture. Hey, I have an idea. Thanks for joining us here on Most Amazing Top 10, and we'll see you next time. Peace.